Now it's time to implement lives and to get the player to be destroyed. Now the idea that we're going to do is that when the player hits an asteroid, it's going to be made invincible for a bit, lose a life, and then the invincibility will wear off. Okay, so the first thing I need to do is need to create two variables. The first one is lives. I'm going to drag this icon here. I'm going to set lives to be 5. I'm also going to drag this one here to create my own custom variable. I'm going to call it invincible. I'm going to set that to 0. So when invincible is 0, it's not invincible, and when it's 1, it's going to be invincible. So I'm going to use this to control whether or not the player is invincible. Click on OK. Then I'm going to go to Asteroid. Now, I'm going to put the code for collision into Asteroid because I want this code to be copied across all the asteroids. So I'm going to go to Add Event, Collision with Player. And what I'm going to do is, first of all, I'm going to see if the player is invincible or not. If the player is invincible, then obviously I don't want the collision to occur. So I'm going to go down to Control. I'm going to drag this icon here, test variable. I'm going to type in player.invincible is equal to 0. Now, the reason I've typed in player dot is because the invincible variable is actually in the player, not the asteroid. So I've had to do it this way. Now I click on OK. If the player is invincible, I'm going to start my algorithm off. Okay, and that is that I'm going to reduce lives by 1. So I'm going to go to this here, set lives to be -1. Don't forget to click relative here. I'm then going to make invincible 1. So player.invincible is going to be 1. And I only want it to last for a little while, so I'm going to use a tool called alarms. Now, what alarms do is allow it to wait for a few steps until something happens. So I'm going to make the number of steps maybe 80. Okay, and once the alarm goes off, I'm going to go to Add Event, Alarm 0. So I've set this on Alarm 0, and I'm going to set Invincible back to 0 again. So player.invincible is 0. Now what that should do is when the player hits it, it's going to become invincible, so this collision code won't run anymore, up until the alarm goes off, and when the alarm goes off, it's going to reset the invincible back. Okay, so that effectively is going to allow it to become invincible for a bit. Also, what I need to do is make sure that I've not run out of lives completely. So I'm going to go to, find it, score. I'm going to test lives. And if lives are equal to 0, then what I want to do is restart the game, which is here. Restart game. So if lives are equal to 0, restart the game. And just because I like things a bit neater, I'm going to put some end blocks in. These start and end blocks are only really needed if you've got more than one command to run inside an if statement. If you've only got one, you don't need it, but I like to just structure my code like this so I can actually see what it's doing at distance. So that should work. Now, the only other thing I need to do is actually display the score and lives on the screen. Now, in order to do that, I'm going to need to create a new object, which I'm going to call scoreboard. And I'm not going to set a sprite for this. What I'm going to do is add a new event called draw. Now, what draw does is this code is run every time the screen wants to draw. So basically every frame. And what I want to do is I want to draw the score and the lives. So I'm going to go down here, and I think it's this one, draw score. So I'm going to drag that across, and I'm going to tick on relative, and I'm going to put this maybe around about position 10, and I'll leave this caption as score. And I'm going to do the same for lives. So draw lives, And I'm going to, this time I'm going to put this maybe position 100. Okay, and this is really where it's going to draw it on the screen. So it's going to draw those two. And just to be triple sure, I'm going to make the font white. So I'm going to set colour to be white, like that. Okay, so that should draw the score and live on the screen. I'm going to go to my room and I'm going to choose a scoreboard and I'm going to place that at the top corner of the screen there and run the game. What should happen is if things work the way it should have, is you can see I've got score 0 and lives 5 printed on screen. You can see when I touched the asteroid, lives went down by 1. If I just keep accidentally touching things, and you saw that's restart the game after 5. There's a few little tweaks we need to make. First of all, when the bullets hit something, I want it to get a score. So I'm going to go to Asteroid, collide with a played bullet. I'm going to change the score. I'm going to drag score up, set score, and let's say I get 10 points there. And I'm just going to do that on all the asteroids, and maybe I'm going to give them a different score each time. So I'm going to drag score up here. Maybe you have 20 points for that one. Don't forget to click relative. Otherwise it just overwrites the score. Small asteroid. Let's have 40 points for that. I'm also going to have a little bit of feedback. So when the asteroid hits a player, I'm going to have a little explosion appear. So if I go to draw, I'm going to drag create effect and I'm going to put that right at the top. I'm going to have an explosion and it's going to be above all the objects, size large, I want a big explosion, and I want this red. Now if I run the code now, what should happen, if everything's gone to plan, is got a nice big explosion. And I can use that little explosion trick on the collisions as well. So if I go to asteroid, actually go to play bullets,